Hi there, my name is Vlad. I'm Russian, and this video is a part of my project called twonations.org. And this is basically a website devoted to my thoughts about Russia and Russian people, about current situation in English, French, and Portuguese languages. Yeah, and basically just to give you a hint what situation really looks like in Russian's head, in Russia itself, mostly without politics. Yeah, you probably heard a lot of things about Russia right now, but majority, 90% goes from media, and basically they are lying. That's simple. And I don't want to tell you only good things about Russia. I just want to give you like more or less real situation as far as I'm concerned, as far as I look at it. And what else? Yeah, basically that's it. If you want to know more, check out my website, twonations.org. I just started it like 2 or 3 weeks ago, but I guess 3 weeks ago, and I made already like 5 videos in French, 5 in Portuguese, and it's just a third video in English. So let's go. This video will be devoted to sanctions. You may know that Russia now is under unprecedented number of sanctions that haven't ever been to any country ever throughout the whole history. So the second place, I guess, Iran. Yeah, like most Russians in big cities like Moscow have already adapted to life under sanctions with surprising ease. Stores and shopping malls are full, and consumer habits have shifted. And parallel imports plus Chinese and domestic brands quietly replaced much of what was lost. And majority of those goods go through Turkey, through Kazakhstan, And people still notice higher prices and some inconveniences, but everyday life looks much more normal than outsiders expect. And the emotional attachment to Western brands has clearly cooled. And when I talk to my friends about life under sanctions, one of the things they mention is that they opened a world of Russian brands, which are sometimes even better than Western ones. I don't know. But talking about more sophisticated things, for example, cars, those are mostly Chinese. So now it's totally cars on the roads are totally different. It's, I don't know, I guess 80% are now coming from China, and they look nice. I'm not sure that they are 100% as safe and have the same endurance as European ones or Japanese ones or South Korean, but they are full of new technology and they look very good. So yeah, but I'm not sure because I haven't ever driven them. My only car is an old Mercedes. So yeah. When people outside Russia imagine life under sanctions, let's say they often picture empty shelves, crazy shortages, and some kind of late Soviet atmosphere. In reality, if you land in Moscow in 2025, the first shock is how normal everything looks. Giant malls, cafes packed on weekends, food delivery apps. By the way, I've made a separate article on the website devoted to what life in Moscow looks like. And guys, you could order almost anything 24/7, and it will come to you usually in 15 minutes. And I have had several conversations with friends of mine who told me that they were actually scared how fast sometimes they got their delivery. Sometimes it's like 5 or 6 minutes, and they told me, how could it be a delivery person should have standed somewhere near their door with all these goods already in his pocket. So it's unimaginable. How could you do it in 6 minutes? Of course, we are now talking about Moscow. A bit longer in St. Petersburg, and I guess more long, like 20, 25, 30 minutes in other big cities in Russia: Kazan, Novosibirsk, Yekaterinburg, and all the hard names of cities that you won't even recognize or remember. Yeah. Well, what else? yeah, we have already talked about parallel imports, so bringing original goods into the country without permission from the brand owner, sometimes through intermediaries in third countries. And this mechanism introduced in May 2022, and yeah, and now it's still working well. And yeah, I've mentioned such countries as Turkey, some countries in Central Asia, United Arab Emirates, I guess, and who knows what else. And for an ordinary shopper, this means that many foreign products never truly disappeared. They just took a more complicated route and became more expensive. Like, but not really more. I don't know why. But those goods cost like the same or maybe 5% more, so it's not that big. You know, I don't know how they do it. And yeah, you still see European perfumes, American gadget or luxury fashion on sale in Moscow. So, and you know, there are a lot of rich people in Moscow. That's like crazy how many rich people in Moscow, and they all need luxury goods. So there are a lot of Lamborghini, Mercedes, and other good cars, and some top brands in Moscow. They're like in Moscow you need to show off. Even in St. Petersburg, it's a great city. You don't need to show off so much. In Moscow, you do need. Well, what else? And yeah, and I've also mentioned some Russian brands, and some some of those brands are, I forgot this word in English, like authentic, let it be authentic, but some of them, some Russian brands, like Russian companies almost cloned product niches. So new local coffee shops replaced Starbucks, new clothing chains replaced Zara, and local IT companies built analog of Western apps and services. Yeah, and to that a flood of Chinese goods, from smartphones and laptops to cars and home appliances, you know. So it's kind of rebranded globalization. So almost everything exists, but under different names and often from different geographies. Yeah, and China stepped in hard. I guess one of the biggest winners of sanctions has been China. And trade between Russia and China hit a record, and Chinese exports to Russia, especially cars, electronics, consumer goods, have exploded. Yeah, what else? The same pattern is visible in tech and household electronics. Yeah, so you now see Xiaomi, Huawei, Haier, I guess Cherry, Haval, and dozens of other Chinese names. And for example, take Cherry. Cherry, it's like a car manufacturer. There was so few Cherry cars on the road like 5 years ago, and now it's like huge. They have built some factories near Moscow and so on. So it's unimaginable how like both life changed and connections. So with West Russia, connections of Western countries and Russia have been degrading since 2022, and vice versa with Asia, with China. What else? And basically, my personal opinion and service shows that like while people worry about sanctions in the abstract, most Russians say that sanctions have not created serious personal problems for their families. Yeah, and moreover, consumer habits didn't change. What else? What else? Yeah. Maybe cards are the problem. But now I'm talking about blocked Visa, Mastercard cards. So it was complicated at the beginning, but now we have our own. And yeah, of course, complicated travel logistics to Europe. Now people, if you know, there are no more visas needed to travel to China. It happened several months ago. So people now my friends go to China, to Japan, I don't know, to other countries, Turkey, whatever, but still going to Europe, but less and less, and it takes you at least 13 hours to get somewhere in Europe, because you need at least 2 flights. There are no straight flights from Russia to Europe. Thus, you need to make 1 or 2 transfers, and it's annoying, it's time and energy consuming, yeah. What else? But yeah, I guess it is a problem. And 5 years ago, it's funny. I could thought, for example, gosh, to fly 4 hours from Moscow to Lisbon. It's so long, like it's such a long flight, but now it takes at least 13 hours. It could be 20 hours to get there. Yeah. Um, there is one more psychological effect after sanctions, that those sanctions shock. It forced Russians to update their mental map of the world economy. And on one hand, trust in Western political institutions and media has dropped sharply. And many people feel betrayed by the speed and scale of the break. And on the other hand, there is more respect for the resilience of the domestic economy. Because you know what, after 4 years of pressure, a lot of people draw the conclusion that we survive anything, which strengthen internal narrative about self-reliance. And medium, small business are usually not in favor in Russia, like historically for centuries. And now it was one of the first times that people heard from the president that medium and small business are he gave them respect because they managed to make economy survive and to export, to import all the necessary stuff. Yeah. And at the same time, dependence on non-Western partners, primarily China, has increased to a level that would have been politically sensitive 10, 15 years ago. Yeah. And what else? Yeah. The sanctions were supposed to destroy everyday life, I guess, but instead they quietly rewired it, I guess. That's funny. So basically that's it. I would add some photos, maybe videos, just to give you a short example of what shelves, shops, shopping malls look like now in Russia. We are in December 2025. So I guess, yeah, it was a slap from many brands at the same time. But now I don't know why it even surprises me, but economically, life in Moscow now looks not worse than 4 years ago. And I have seen some documentaries about life in Iran right now, and sanctions made not a good served not good to Iran. But Iran's 3 times less in terms of I don't know, people, territory, economy, even more than 3 times. So maybe that's because we are more or less big, and we have connections, good connections with Arab and Asian countries. Yeah, I don't know, maybe Western countries are now satisfied with what's going on. I try to divide politicians and people, and I understand that now it's not easy to get outside of information bubble that you are in, because you see the same news on the same channels, or even if you read social networks or x.com or whatever, it also provide you with the same information that you are already consuming, and thus again putting you into the same information bubble. So I try to reconsider how journalism should work, and it's funny how much we've gained in terms of a means of communication, mobile phones and internet, in terms of transportation with planes, even space shuttles right now. But in terms of information exchange, we are like in 19th or 20th century right now, because I've read some information that almost 60% or 80%, like a huge amount of people, for example, in England, in Great Britain, are derive the majority of information from BBC. That's hilarious. That would be cool if we be able to get information from different sources, from different parts, to start to learn to think critically, and to be able to make your own perception of reality. Yeah. It's been a long video with me speaking a lot of things apart from sanctions, but somehow those things are connected to my mind. Okay, cheers.